Today on Freedom Friday, I want to teach you how to connect with your passed on loved ones, and not in a super woo-woo way. There's no Ouija boards involved, or any creepy weird thing. It's really just for the regular people. You don't have to be psychic or intuitive or anything. So let's check it out. Here we go.
This is your life, no one else has gotta live it. This is your fight that only you can win.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Freedom Friday, where you learn how to free yourself and live your dreams. I'm Darienne, your certified spiritual rock star. And as I said, today we're learning about how to connect with your passed on loved ones. If you would like to get spiritual advice every single week, subscribe to this channel. And if you're on a mobile device, click the little bell and you'll get notifications every Friday or every single time I post a video. The moon looks really cool right now. Is it a full moon tonight? It's almost a full moon. Almost. Let me see. Holy moly, it looks really cool. Okay, so a lot of you know, most of you know, that my daughter's father passed away in 2010, committed suicide. And I would not consider myself, or I wouldn't call myself a psychic of any kind, especially when he passed. I definitely wouldn't say, maybe I was a little bit intuitive. I was an empath. Yes, I didn't even know I was an empath then. I think I just knew things that the average person knows, sort of that instinctual intuition kind of a thing. But I wasn't into the woo-woo stuff. I wasn't doing rituals like I'll probably do a full moon ritual when the moon is full. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. And to be really frank, I was afraid to connect with him. It was almost like I wanted to know that he was okay, but I was scared to connect with him because, you know, my religion that I grew up in says that he was going to hell because he committed suicide, and there was a lot of fears going on around that. One thing I would suggest is, and maybe at the end of the video I'll give you guys the link to this, I'll show it on the screen, is how I got over my fear of death and the spirit world, because that's probably a good prerequisite to this video, and something that can just really help you. So I want to first tell you a story about where I was, so that maybe we can both maybe you can relate to where I am now. So recently I had somebody ask me how they could connect with their grandmother. Her grandmother had just passed and she loved her very dearly, but she was in a great state of grievance and was having trouble connecting with her. And some people have more of a severe situation where my daughter's father committed suicide. We had a very terrible relationship in his life, in his waking life, at the point of his death. And he sent out a mass suicide note, sort of like a mass text. He sent out a mass text blaming me for his choice to leave the world. And so before I even go into this, I think I'm going to just ask him, I'm going to call in Joey. Joey's his name. I'm just going to ask you to help me tell this story in the most loving and beautiful way. Okay. All right. There he is. Okay. I might cry. So there, can we just say, I just connected with him. So now I'm going to teach you how to do it. We were at a very, 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 very bad place. I would search YouTube videos on how to do it, and it was woo-woo. It was super woo-woo. It was like, imagine your ear opening up and you can hear them talking, and and I did all sorts of things like that, and I was really in a state of fear. But for those of you who maybe you're not into the woo-woo stuff, but maybe you are, maybe you don't really consider yourself psychic, or you don't think that you have that kind of ability or that kind of intuition, I'm going to tell you the one way that I always connect with Joey. And the one way I've always felt the most deeply connected with him. When I think of him, I think of a memory. I remove the resistance, which is fear. So I don't think of the fear. I don't think of any of that stuff. I don't think of, oh my God, is he okay? Where is he right now? I don't think of, oh my God, I don't want to see him. That would really scare the crap out of me. I really set some ground rules, and I kind of say, I don't want to see you because that would freak me the fuck out. I don't want you to like flicker lights because that would freak me the fuck out. I don't want to see a dark apparatus. No. I don't want to see any of that. I just want to know that you're here. And that was sort of the first thing I had to do, was kind of say, I just want to know you're here, and set sort of some ground rules with spirit. Like, this is what I want to see. This is, you know, and of course we don't want to say, I want you to come through this way. But we can say, please don't show yourself to me physically, because that would scare me freak me the fuck out. You know, things like that. I think that there's that fear, of course. And really setting it up in that way. But the greatest way that I've been able to connect with him is just by thinking of a memory of him that was a beautiful memory and can get me into a state of no resistance and lots of love. Because in just a few minutes, what starts to happen is when I really focus my energy, and I feel like my heart center is just like doing this right now. I can feel him here very strongly. What happens when I think about him in a loving manner, and I think about the memories that I have with him, just in a few minutes, it feels as if like something happens. And it feels almost as if I were to close my eyes, it would feel like he were physically in the room with me, but my eyes were closed. That's how closely connected I would feel to him. But the thing I had to do was stop being so scared. So that's why I think that video, that is a really good prerequisite for you guys. If you are stuck in a state of grief, I promise you, your loved ones are trying to reach you. They are there. They are in, and I coined this term today, the loving dimension. You might want to call it heaven. You can call it whatever you want, but it is it's the dimension of love, the loving dimension. And that is the place that we're all living in. It's sort of like an alternate universe that we're all living in, but we don't realize it sometimes. And when we click into that alternate universe, when we think thoughts of love, when we think thoughts of joy, we click into the dimension of love. Some people could call that heaven. But heaven's not up there. It's right here with us. It's only attunement away, if that's a word. So I had to let go of my fear. I had to shift my perceptions around death and around, I had to really heal from my relationship with him a great deal. And now he's telling me, now tell the story, tell the story, tell the story. So let me just ask him, okay, no, he wants me to tell the story. So I got to tell the story, okay? So, and just so you know what's going on right now when I hear him sort of telling me to do this. I don't hear a voice. I don't feel any physical, I'm feeling a lot of physical, more like energetic sensations, not like I'm feeling anything touching me physically. What happens is, so I get this sense that says, oh, you should tell the story about when I first really deeply connected with Joey. And I get this, and then it's almost as if my heart chakra says like, yes, 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 yes. So get into that, like if you get to know yourself a little bit better, and this is just totally like a side note, but if you get to know yourself a little bit better and understand, like sort of see how your chakras react when you ask them certain questions, like, should I go out with this guy? And if you know that you don't really like that guy, you kind of feel like maybe you get a tenseness and the answer is no. You know, you get this tenseness. Or should I go out with this guy? And your whole energetic body lights up. And it's like, that's a yes. Everything about you says yes. So that's sort of how Joey speaks to me, is when I said, hold on, I'm going to tell this thing first. And I felt no. I felt this tenseness in my heart chakra. It was immediately my body telling me, nope. And so that's how the connection is. That's how some people get visions. Some people do have like clairaudience and they do hear things. Even when I feel like I've opened up my clairaudience and I wouldn't actually hear him. Like, I've heard him laugh before in my clairaudience, but it was just like a memory of him laughing. It didn't actually feel like me hearing someone laugh, if that makes any sense. So, you know, this whole thing about being psychic doesn't have to be so crazy, esoteric, up in the clouds, you know. It's a gut instinct. It sort of comes to you as a gut instinct. At least it comes to me that way. And I know quite a few people that it comes to like that as well. So I want to tell the story very quickly about the first time I ever connected with him. And I think that it's really going to help you guys. And he's like, tell the story, tell the story. And I really need to write a book about the story, but today I'm just going to tell the story. So my phone keeps going off. In 2014, I got my certification to become a spiritual coach with Gabrielle Bernstein. It's called the Spirit Junkie Master Class. We were the very first one. And on the last day of the weekend, we were like meditating all weekend. I mean, it was super high vibe, right? We were meditating all weekend. On the very last day, she decided to call in our passed on loved ones to ask them permission to tell their story for the benefit of the planet, you know? And so it was sort of like, we just want to ask if we could tell this story so that, you know, I'm not shaming anybody that's passed on. Obviously, we can't get legal permission to, you know. So I call, and she said, call out your names. So there's 250 of us, and we're all touching fingertips like this, and we're close our eyes, and we're praying, and we're meditating, and I'm scared to fucking death because she just asked me to call in a man that committed suicide, and I don't know if I'm calling someone from hell, right? This was my fear back then. What was that, 4 years ago? 4 years ago now? Almost 3 years ago? I don't know. I guess 3 years ago, yeah. And it was like I didn't quite believe in hell, but I still wasn't quite sure. Those fears come up. I didn't want to believe it, but I didn't know. I didn't know anything about, you know, the afterlife or anything. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm thinking, oh my God, am I about to call in some like dark spirit? I still hadn't healed from our relationship that was really toxic when he was alive. All kinds of shit going on, and I'm scared. So I'm like, okay, I said his name, Joey. I'm going to call him in. And then all of a sudden I was taken to that dimension of love, to heaven. It was as if I stayed right there. I wasn't taken any place, but the veil dropped. And then all of a sudden I was in this space with all these angels or passed on being, whatever you, spirit, I call them my spirit tribe. It was like I was at a party. It was like all of a sudden I was at this party in spirit. So I'm in this space that in my perception was heaven. And what I realized was that this was a place that I'd never left. I'm always here. This is my home. This is where I am. Not some place I go to visit. It's where I am all the time. And he came to me, and I've said this before, he came to me as the name T, as the letter T. His real name starts with a T. And it's so interesting that sometimes that so many psychics are like, who's the name that starts with T? And for some reason, he came to me as a T. And he showed me myself and my daughter, and he showed me that we were spiritual partners, that we came together, that this was all planned out, that we like totally planned this whole thing out, that we came together as spirits, and he was the one that was going to sacrifice his life so that I could carry on and help thousands, millions of people. We didn't really go over specifics, but it was for me to help the world. And I was the one that was going to learn the lesson. I was the one that was going to carry the message. And he was going to be my partner in spirit, like literally in spirit, in heaven, helping me along the way. So like he really was a spiritual partner of mine. And that my daughter Kylie, she was going to help people in like a little bit of a different way, but more something about how with her losing her father, not specifically with like depression and suicide, but something different. And so I was bawling my eyes out, crying. And it was interesting that the T energy that came to me, it was very different from what I knew Joey to be on this planet Earth. it was very, very different. But it was like I knew it was him, but it was so different from what I knew him to be in his physical form. And so I got validation for that when I heard Abraham Hicks say that when you try to connect with your passed on loved ones, you have to understand that they are not the beings that they were when they died. They have evolved. They have expanded. Their inner being, our inner beings are constantly expanding whether we are in physical form or not. And so we keep trying to connect with the person that was here on planet Earth rather than connecting with the spirit. And so that experience for me in 2014 was me connecting with T, the spirit, rather than Joey, the man. And so our relationship has evolved a great deal since then, and we have a really, really beautiful relationship now, and he is a partner of mine, and that's why I can call him in and feel a sense of love and not be scared and know that he's got my back. But it's really evolved a lot since then, and so I know that that has helped someone because it's been a really beautiful experience for me. I do want to say, if you are in that beginning state of fear, okay, I want you to start off with surrounding yourself with a big bubble of love, okay? If you are like going to go into a meditation and try to connect with your passed on loved ones, which you may not do that. You may just think about them and see butterflies flying by, or tell them, I want to see butterflies every time I think of you, or every time you're there, or I want to see, coins. I've had coins drop around me. You can tell them to do things like that. Or every time I hear this song, it reminds me of you. Know that every time you have something remind you of your passed on loved one, that is them. That's them. That's them saying hi, hey. Just want to pop in, But if you really want to like sit into a meditation and try to connect with them, first, don't fret if you don't feel connected to them the very first time you meditate. I think that it's something that you can practice. And when they first pass on and you are in a state of grievance, you're not really going to have as much luck connecting with them, because if you're in a state of fear and grievance, you're sort of thickening that veil. As I said, the veil between you seeing the dimension of love and not seeing the dimension of love. You are always in that loving dimension. You are always, that part of you is always living in the dimension, the loving dimension, but the greater the pain, the thicker the veil, okay? So, first thing I want you to do is surround yourself with love and make a statement. This is a big ass bubble. Nothing can come through this but love. And you can even say, if you have a toxic relationship with the person that loved on, even only the parts of them that are loving are able to come through. You could do that. And really the parts of them that aren't loving have died. That's why they've passed on. But just to make yourself feel better, just to affirm it to yourself, do that, okay? And then I just want you to have a fond memory of them. Just focus on fond memories of them. And I promise you, you will feel, maybe not the first time, maybe it's going to have to be it's going to take a little bit of practice, but you will feel them. You will feel their essence. Just sitting and think about them. I mean, it's like biologically inevitable that when you think of them, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a thought or something actually, like a memory or something actually happening in front of you. So it will feel real to you, no matter what. And when you practice it, you will feel deeply connected. When you do it with a state of like, I need to connect, what do you have to tell me, what do you have to tell me? There's too much resistance. So it's really about lessening the resistance. And in practice, so that's why when you think of a fond, beautiful memory of them, it lessens the resistance. That is my suggestion to you. And it doesn't have to be super woo-woo. Just think of a fond memory of them. So that is one suggestion on how to connect with your passed on loved ones. I really, really send you so much love, and I really hope that it helps you. And please come back and let us know if you've been able to connect, if there have been certain signs. Definitely let go of the way the signs need to look. Definitely let go of the way you think they need to contact you. Let go of every idea you have about connecting with spirit and all of that. And if you have fears, go ahead and check out that video that I'll share at the end of this particular video. All right, guys, I love you so, so very much, and I will see you next week. Mwah. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I want to encourage you to share it with whomever you think it could really, really help. Join the inspiration conversation down below. Of course, as always, give me some ideas for the next coming Freedom Fridays. If you've had some questions, there's a link below that you can ask in a private manner if you would like. Also, I have lots of juicy surprises cooking up for you guys. So if you follow me on social media at Darienne Empire and Darienne Music, I will be dropping little clues and hints here and there. And here's our archived video for the week. I will see you guys next week.